Welcome back, guys. This video is basically a part 2 of the Mulloway Jewfish lure one. I've been asked a few times about the rods and reels I would use to use the lures I showed in the last video. So what we're going to do is just run through some rods and reels I've got here I'd use. A couple of them I haven't got anymore because I haven't surf fished or cast lures or stuff in the surf for years. So they're gone, but I'll actually tell you what sort of outfits I'd look for if I was going to go do it nowadays. Okay? Anyway guys, let's get into it. If you remember, last week I sent out a video on 5 lures for Jewfish with a couple of different ones like squid, okay, and big plastics, and jerkbait, surprisingly. What I'd use for these fish, what I will start with, we're going to start with fishing the flats. If I was back down south and I was going to go onto the flats chasing these, 30, 40, 50 pound fish at night time, using things like jerk baits or big plastics, okay, over the flats, I wouldn't go nothing too special or too heavy. What I'd probably do, guys, is just run something like a Stratic, that's a Stratic 4000, with 20 pound on it. That's 20 pound braid on a Stratic 4000. That's more than enough to go catch a large jewfish. I must admit, it'd be fun. It'd be a lot of fun chasing those big fish on gear like this. But you'll get jewfish on this. They're not really dirty fighters. They actually just use their weight against you in the current. But if you just take your time on outfits like this, you'll catch some really large fish. Okay? So that's just a Stratic. You don't have to buy a Stratic itself, but something around 4000 is going to catch, a whole 20 pound line. Hopefully a couple hundred yards at least, 200 to 300 yards, because a big fish will get into the current and you'll run with the current for a while and take a bit of line off you. But yeah, something like that'll be fine. And the rods. For casting these lures, I prefer a little bit stiffer in the tip. Some guys like a softer rod. I don't know why. I prefer a stiffer tip when I'm using lures, because whenever I'm jerking or twitching the baits, whatever my rod does, I want my lure to do. So the rods I'd look at, guys, for that, I've got a couple here. These are, you don't have to buy these exact rods, but something like this is 7 foot. These are Ocean Legacies. These are Stingers, Ocean Legacy, okay? And this one's a PE2. And this thing's got a nice, it's not super stiff in the tip, it's got a nice tip on it. You're on 20 pound on this, not a problem at all, or that, but that's enough stiffness in there to get these things bouncing, and this. But you'd set hooks, and this is a 7 foot rod, so 7 foot PE2, but I'm only running 20 pound on it. For those lures over the flats, it'd be fun. It'd work really, really well. Something around 7 foot for casting. And like I said, PE2, it doesn't have to be a PE2, but that's why I chose for this, because just the tip was nice. And to be honest, I'd probably even use this in the gutters of surf cutters, especially if I want to cast something like the bigger plastics with a decent head, because that's quite heavy. On an outfit like this, a 20 pound braid, well balanced outfit, you'll cast quite a long way and you could use it. And especially working the edge of the gutters, because you're not casting through big massive waves and stuff, you're just casting into the gutters themselves, so something like that would be alright too. Okay. And once again, same sort of deal. I've got the same sort of outfit for the flats, and you probably could use it even the beach if you wanted to just step up. Go 5000 Stratic. That one's got 30 pound braid on it. It doesn't have to be a Stratic once again, guys, just something around 5000. That's got a decent drag. That's got 30 pound on it. Okay. And same rod. This is a heavier version. This one's a PE3. Okay. And yes, I know PE3 doesn't exactly, it's not 430, I know that, guys, so it's all good. But I've got this one, just once again, it's got a little bit stiffer tip than the two. And with this one, you cast a lot bigger lures. Okay, a lot heavier lures. So I'd use that on the flats, once again, probably in a surf gutters where there's not huge surf, for a bit of fun. And you could even get away with this type of rod on the bridges, when I was talking about the bridges walking along. This one, or maybe a little bit heavier, with your bigger prawn lures, but not that one, but other prawn lures, or your squids as you're just walking along. I'd walk along, when we used to do it, we'd walk this way, would have the rod out just off the angle, like there, like so. And as we're walking along, the rod in front of us will just like lift, and then let drop it. And you'll be able to see over the side, you see, okay, the lure's just down under your feet next to the light. You'll be just walking along and then like lift and jerk and drop it. Not have it out the side here and doing this, because that's just, looks ridiculous, it's not going to work. And your lure's out in the light between, you got the darkness under your feet, you got your darkness out there, and then you got the lure in the bright light. The jewies and stuff aren't in the actual light, that's where all the bait fish are swimming. You'll see the Jewfish, Mulloway, they'll swim out from the darkness and ambush the bait as it's coming past, especially when it gets closer to the edge of the light. Not out right in the bright orange. Okay, they're basically, they're ambush predators. So they cruise up and down and sit where the darkness is and the edge of the light, so when the fish come near the edge, they smash them. That's why you want, when you're walking along the bridge with your lures, basically you have it right out in front of it and just twitching, so it keeps the lure straight down near the darkness, the edge of the darkness and the light, not out to the side. So this shorter rod would be right for that. Years ago we didn't have rods like this. Years ago when we were doing this, we were using 12 and 14 foot rods. Okay. When I grew up doing it, we had 12 foot overhead rods. They were 10 kilo overhead, 12 foot. And we used to have things like TLD 15s on them, Ambassador 7000, 10,000s, those sort of outfits. But same way, we'll be walking that way, but even though we've got a long rod, we're walking along the pole and it's twitching like this, we're walking straight, because the bridge is the railing's there, the lures would be straight down under the bridge next to the darkness, so that's a perfect spot for the fish to ambush, come out and ambush your lure. If we're walking along with 12 foot rods out to the side, your lure's going to be 12 foot out away from the light. The jewies aren't going to come out there and ambush that. They're not. They're going to wait for something to come right up hard against the darkness of the light, and that's where they're going to hit it. So on the bridges, have your rods out just on an angle in front of you, walking along, twitching that way, right up hard against the rail. So that's a PE3 rod, 30 pounds. I'd use that, once again, like I said, for the flats casting, the gutters, depending on the gutter and how much surf's around, casting those type of things, like I said, gutters and over the flats. So it's not hard, guys. So like a 4,000 and 5,000 reel, 20 pound, 30 pound on 7 foot rods. Okay. And like I was just saying, when I grew up we were using 12 foot rods and overheads and TLD 15s, Ambassador 7,000, 10,000s, spooled up with 10 or 15 kilo mono. It was only mono back then anyway, when we were fishing off the bridge. And walking along with the rods just out in front of us off the angle, just so the lures, when we're jigging the lures, it's hard up against the light and the light and the darkness. Okay, not right out in the light. So it used to work well. So these shorter rods they'd work alright too. And now, if you want to go actual surf fishing or casting these big lures like this big thing, if you can get something similar in gutters at daytime or nighttime, and guys, trust me, nighttime, around a full moon, not a full moon, but around a full moon, nighttime, these big things in surf gutters. If I had a rod and reel for that nowadays, if I went and bought one, I'd look at one of the Shimano reels. You got a lot of Shimano do a lot of surf casting reels now. They've got the long cast spools on them, so they've got a very shallow but very deep, very high spool, so it doesn't restrict your casting. And they'll range from, I think, like a cheaper Airlex one's like 180 bucks or something nowadays to a good CI4 or something like that, and they're about 450, 480 or something. So you can buy them, they're different prices. But for Jewfish, these reels are fine. Once again, they're not dirty fighters, they just use a weight against you. So guys, basically, you just take a bit of time with them. You will land jewies. Just take your time and try not to drag them through the surf, because you'll pull hooks out. Just take your time and you'll get them, big fish. But I'd look at one of those spin reels nowadays. Not a lot of guys can, cast overheads off the surf, and especially for lures one after the other you're going to get tangles and mess up. So get yourself a surf fishing reel, something with a long cast spool on it. Dye would do them as well. I think Penn might do one as well. I'm pretty sure Penn does one as well. And Shimano, they all do long cast spools. Go get yourself one of those. Put 10 or 15 kilo mono on it. Don't go braid. If you do go braid, you're probably going to want to wear gloves, because after casting big lures or maybe fighting fish in the surf, bare fingers, casting with braid, you're going to cut your fingers to shreds. So a pair of gloves, or just use some mono. Just go 10 or 15 kilo mono. And the rod I'd choose nowadays, guys, if I was going to look for an overhead or a spin rod, I'd probably look at the Penn Prevail rods. They're a nice rod, and they do make them fairly heavy. They've got a nice stiff tip, so you get some good action out of your lures. They go from light to heavy. They make overheads and spin, and they just seem like a really good sturdy rod. Not the cheapest things. I think most Penn Prevails around 200 to 280 sort of range, depending on what's length and what one. So not a cheap rod, but they are a really good rod. If you want to chase some big fish in the surf, I'd look at a Penn Prevail and probably put a, just like I said, maybe even just a Penn long cast spinning reel on there, surf fishing reel, or a Dyer or a Shimano, whatever fan you are. Okay, and then you'll be able to get into surf beaches and cast big lures like this and things like this in the gutters, daytime, nighttime. It'll work really, really well. Or even if you don't want to use it for the lures, you just want to throw out a dead bait or a live bait, it's the same outfit. Be great. Okay. Like I've got an old school TLD 15, still with mono on it. Haven't used it in years, but it's still there. That's an old bridge walking one from a long time ago. I've got 5s and 10s as well, believe it or not. Okay, and the other one I wanted to talk about, guys, it's been around for a few years, but not a lot of people do it because I don't think Jewies will eat these things. This is only if you've got a boat and you can get out to some close reefs. So like if you've got a close reef off home, you know where Jewfish linger, or some artificial reefs or something, you know where Jewfish are. I want you to go and give something else a crack. This is just a little, you'll know what it is when you see it, it's a little micro jigging outfit. Okay, this is only 10 kilo. You can put 50, 30, 50, whatever, depending on which outfit, but micro jigging. Okay, that's a little Saltiga 10 on a little Saltiga rod. This thing is a very, very soft rod, look. But I have caught a lot of school fish on that one, and haven't had any luck on a big fish on that one. But I used to, back on the Gold Coast, around the artificials, we used to go jig those little jigs. Okay, and used to catch quite a few schoolies on them. Just close reefs, that was artificials off the Gold Coast. And using little micro jigs like this on a little outfit like that, we used to catch a few schoolies, like 20 pounders, 20, 25. We used to lose a lot though, because the little buggers in this like gear will run you into the rocks. Because most of the fish are hard up against the rocks, so you got to fish. I mean the artificial, so you got to fish very, very close to them. And used to lose a few as they go around it and stuff, but they do work. Little micro jigs, not a lot of people do it, but micro jigs on your little micro outfit, great fun for a few schoolies. I'm sure bigger ones will hit it too. Just hope they swim away from the reef. But yeah, don't be scared to give them a crack. Especially if you've got a boat and you go out to some close reefs and stuff where you know Jewish Haunt or Rex or something like that, give them a crack, they're alright. Okay guys, so that's pretty much that one. I'll just give you an idea on what gear. You don't need big monster heavy gear like some guys have got big reels, 50 and 80 pound braid, yada yada yada. You don't need it for Jewies, you really don't. They are a big fish, yes, they are a powerful fish, but they use your weight against her, and they are a lazy fish. They run out of steam, they really do. It's very rarely they'll break you off from the bottom, unless I said like you're fishing artificials, Reefs or something, and they rub you off, and they swim past and they rub you off that way. But they don't deliberately go head for the closest snag or the closest pylon or something. They usually don't. Most of the time they'll run down with the current because they're lazy. They'll go with the current and use the current against you. The current and their weight. Okay. Anyway, I hope that one helps the guys out who wasn't sure what sort of outfits. As I said, most of us will just run 4 and 5,000 reels with 10 and 15 kilo on it on a 7-foot rod. Go cast some lures, go cast some baits with it. They'll handle Jewies, not a problem in the world. Off piers, off boats, over sand flats. The surf on fairly calm days, or like I said, go buy yourself a decent surf rod with a long cast surf fishing reel. Yeah, rambled on enough about this one, guys. Good luck. Hopefully you find yourself a nice big silver ghost, and if you do, let me know. And